Let's do it. I'm going to turn things over to Alex Layla, who will take the requisite steps to formally open our meetings. I note that Todd Sherman, representing Mr. Robert Lica, Director of the Division of Budget, and Linda Baldwin, representing Rosada, Acting New York State Secretary of State from the Department of State, are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, Room 131 in Albany. Is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
Great.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Stephen Weiss from the agency's Buffalo Regional Office at Electric Tower, 535 Washington Street, Suite 5. Good morning. I will ask for motion and second. Call to order the September 15th, 2016 Audit Committee meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation. May I have motions for HFA and AHC and seconds?
So moved.
Second.
Motions for Sony May and a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion for MBBA and TSFC and a second?
So moved.
As item, do we vote now?
Todd, need a second for MBBA.
Todd?
Second for MBBA?
Yeah, second, thank you.
Okay. Do we vote now?
No, that's it.
Okay, great. As items are presented to each committee throughout today's meetings, these motions and seconds will be used unless specific items call for a different vote, or unless any committee member or director wishes to record his or her vote differently.
Thank you. Just want to note that Chairman Bill Thompson is the agency's chair and will chair the audit committee for MBBA, TSFC, and Sunny May. Nestor Davidson is the audit committee chair for HFA and AHC and will chair those meetings. For purpose of convenience and to make sure the meetings of the respective agencies go smoothly, items shared by one or more of our agencies will be presented by Mr. Davidson. First item is the minutes. The following minutes shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from the members and directors. The HFA Audit Committee meeting held on June 9th, the AHC Audit Committee meeting held on June 9th, the Sunny May meeting held on April 14th, the MBBA Audit Committee meeting held on April 14th, and the TSFC meeting held on April 14th. Okay, turn it over to Mr. Davidson.
We will now move to the shared action items. Sheila here?
Yes.
Resolution recommending the approval of the administrative budget request and financial plans for FY 2017 for HFA, AHC, Sunny May, MBBA, and TSFC.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have Daryl Johnson, my deputy, with me here also. This morning, we're requesting the approval of 4 items by the board. The approval of the agency's fiscal year 2017 administrative budget, which is not to exceed $61.69 million for operating expenses for the 5 agencies. Approval of each agency's financial plans, which shows 2017 and 3 additional forecasted years of revenues and expenses. The approval of the cash program budgets, which we are required to do for HFA and MBBA to show the sufficiency of funds to pay debt service on the bonds that are outstanding. And the 4th item is the amended budget for 2016, which increased the budget by $2 million and added the ability to hire 30 additional staffers to accommodate program growth. The revenue sources from the administrative budget come from $34.1 million, or 55.3% from HFA, $23.3 million, or 38% from Sunny May, and less than 7% from MBBA, TSFC, and AHC combined. The $61.7 million budget is an increase of $1.2 million over last year's amended budget of $60.5 million, or 2%, keeping the increase at the recommended 2% level. The 2016 budget requires an amendment to account for the retroactive payments agreed to as part of the UAW union contract settlement and the management confidential staff increases, which exceeded the amount of any accrued funds we had from the 2015 budget. The amended 2016 budget allowed for a staffing increase from 230 to 260 employees. The change in the 2016 budget can be seen on page 3, and it's shaded on your screens. It's probably in green, and it's limited to personal expenses. The 2017 budget increase also includes a staff increase from 260 of the amended budget to 266. The total increase is to accommodate the increased staffing needed for new programs for our Community Restoration Fund program, staffing needed for the new IT system, and pending housing plan staffing. In addition, we need some hires for succession planning, as some employees can retire over the next 3 years. The increase in personal services, including salaries, health, dental insurance, and pension fund costs, constitute 3% of the budget increase. IT acquisition levels have increased to replace the aging equipment and provide new computers for the new hires that we plan to have. The single-family unit also needs some IT improvements to their emphasis system, software upgrades to track the rehab loans done through the new program. But we have decreased the IT consulting expenses and IT maintenance due to the capitalization of expenses separately for the BAM project and many upgrades to equipment that were done in fiscal 2016. The other budgetary increases were for insurance, mainly for directors and officers' liability insurance, rent escalation increases, and increased costs for furniture and equipment to accommodate the new staff and replace some old furniture. Our staffing has increased from the level of 210 last year to 230, and we currently have 25 hires in the approval process queue. There are 18 additional identified required positions where we're seeking candidates. The discretionary spending constitutes less than 8% of the budget. For the financial plans, as we did last year with the approval of the Controller's Office, by using accumulated funds available to cover out-year expenses, and in the case of AHC, using funds from the parent agency, HFA, we're able to show that no deficits will occur in the next 4 years. For the cash flow and preliminary cash program budgets, which are only required for HFA and MBBA, these show sufficient funds available to pay debt service, and final budgets will be provided in January with the year-end financials. Thank you, and thanks to my staff for all their help in putting this all together. Are there any questions?
I just have a couple. First of all, I just want to say I think it's wonderful that we're staffing up.
Yes.
And I really applaud the efforts there, and I think it's completely appropriate. And also that when I look at the budget analysis, that we're balancing that with savings in other areas.
Yes.
It's terrific. So just two questions from the financial plan, and this is mainly looking at HFA.
Okay.
On page 4,
Yes.
I note that, and there's some discussion later, that we've had 2 years, and I don't know how far back this goes, but we only have 2 years of, in FY15, $32 million in proceeds from, I gather this was related to the Mitchell-Lama portfolio. And then current year, we're estimating $42 million, and then next year, that goes to 0. So when I look at total revenues and financing sources, we go from a 97 million to 114 down to 74 for FY17. And that's less than what we're projecting for this year's actuals on expenditure. So I'm wondering if you could say a little bit more about that. Am I missing something there?
Gary?
Yeah, I'm right.
So there's a note on
What I
page
actually
25.
want
I heard you.
The 42 million is a transfer from the MIF to cover the Mitchell-Lama, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's not being spent right away, so.
Okay, but just help me understand then how that affects, because if I look again at current year estimated total expenditures, obviously we have a big surplus this year, but that goes from a $39 million surplus projected for this year to a $1 million, 1.3 next year, and I'm wondering whether that's a little tight there. I don't know.
No, it's not tight. We're using that money to pay the subsidy loans as we reflect it going forward on the Mitchell-Lamas that, as they close
Close out,
afterwards.
and now refinanced.
Like
So-
Sheila was saying, we use prior year money, you know, that's a lot of money and other money that comes in during the
Okay.
current year. So we show that as part of the.
Right, so we should have
revenue.
30 million a year going forward through 2020. And I just know we're covering that, I assume,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
from other funds, okay. That was my main question on that.
Is that it on the budget?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll come back to it.
That's
Any
great
other
to see.
questions? Sorry.
All right.
Okay, so we'll move on to the vote. This is a long resolution. I'm gonna try to cut this short. A resolution of the audit committees of the various agencies adopting an administrative budget for fiscal year November 1, 2016 to October 31, 2017, and financial plans for 2017, 18, 19, and 20. That's with respect to HFA, Sunny Mae, MBDA, Tobacco, and AHC's financial plan covers 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 because it is separate fiscal year, and preliminary cash budgets for all of those agencies for 2017, for HFA and MBBA for 2017, and recommending the approval thereof to the members and directors, as well as the amendment of the existing budget. So, geez.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say that again?
I didn't hear it.
Faster.
State controller will catch that. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor of approving that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried, the resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to item 3, resolution approving internal audits, disaster recovery audit reports. Steve?
Good morning.
Item number 3 is our internal audit report on disaster recovery. Here we review the plan and its results as of May 31st. The plan refers to the agency's ability to recover and resume operations in case of an unexpected event which would disrupt the operations. The plan takes into consideration an agency-wide plan that also considers our business objectives and critical operations and what it would take to resume those operations. The framework includes departments, systems, and critical operations and how they should respond to the event, as well as what solution they should implement. Because of the ever-changing operations, the plan should be tested periodically, and so that no new threats occur. In addition to that, in order to ensure that the data is safeguarded, the plan calls for a constant backup of systems and data, and also that internal controls are in place. The IT group is responsible for the agency's computer hardware, software, including the PCs. Our plan takes into consideration or utilizes the VPN and the Citrus Zen desktop system in order to allow our staff to access data from remote locations. And the result of our test was that the staff was able to retrieve, access, retrieve, and store the data, and it was successful. So what we're going to do is ask you to just approve the report because there's not a response necessary for that.
Any questions?
Okay, now before all 5 committees is a resolution of the audit committees of all 5 committees approving an internal audit disaster recovery audit report, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for all 5 committees. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's been carried, resolution adopted.
Move to item 4, resolution approving Sunny Mae's servicer audit at First Niagara Bank.
Right here, we review the mortgage files and systems of internal control for single-family mortgages as of January 31st. As of our audit date, they were servicing approximately 66 million Sunny Mae loans. First Niagara Bank is a subsidiary of First Niagara Financial Group, who had about $40 billion in assets as of 12/31/15. They are currently in the process of being taken over by Key. They are full-service operations that deals with acquisitions, originations, servicing of residential and commercial properties. They are participating in all our indenture programs. Payments can be made at any one of their branches or lockbox operation, and also their deposits are, of course, FDIC insured. The results of our audit was that we were able to satisfactorily achieve our objectives. There were 3 items in the report, and management has responded to those items. I ask you to accept the report and response.
Questions?
Okay, so this is only for the Sunny Mae Audit Committee. So it's a resolution of that committee reviewing and approving the servicer audit of First Niagara Bank, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for that committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, resolution adopted.
Let's move to item 5, resolution approving single-family program Sunny Mae Express audit report.
Here we reviewed the Sunny Mae Express and its compliance with operating policies and procedures as of 12/31/15. As we know, Sunny Mae's, or single families, primary objective is to provide home ownership for low and moderate income families through affordable residential mortgages. This audit focuses on loan origination and how they're processed through the Sunny Mae Express. The Sunny Mae Express was developed to eliminate the uncertainty of borrowers' eligibility early on in the mortgage application stage, and also to assist lenders in reviewing loan files. It is a web-based system, and it allows it to upload the application to a web portal. It also provides instantaneous decisions on IRS and underwriting compliance, as well as retrieves tax returns from third parties, and also provides a post-mortgage file electronically to the agency. There are only 2 authorized vendors, and that would be M&T and Freedom Mortgage Corp. Since its inception in April of 2014, over 1,000 loans have been processed through the system. Our audit here included a review of the purchase contracts, the loan origination, mortgage documentations, accounting transactions, and internal controls. The result was we were generally able to satisfy our audit objectives. There were 4 items in the report, and management has responded, and again, we're going to ask you to accept the report and management's response.
Questions? Great.
Now before the Sunny Mae Committee is a resolution of that committee approving the single-family program Sunny Mae Express audit report, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried, resolution adopted.
We'll move to item 6. Note members were emailed under separate cover the confidential report of the New York State Financial Services Department's annual audit report. Item 6, resolution recommending the acceptance and approval of the New York State Financial Department's report on Sunny Mae.
Okay, according to, I believe it's 2429E of the Public Authorities Law, the New York State Financial Services Group performs an audit of Sunny Mae annually to determine its net worth and the effectiveness of its management policies. The audit includes a review of asset quality, of equity, of interest rate risk, accounting transactions, internal controls, and also the effectiveness of the operating policies. It is a confidential report. However, I can state that the results indicated that the agency is still functioning satisfactorily. The asset quality remains strong. The accounting transactions were recorded correctly, internal controls were in place, and the agency is being effectively run by management and the board of directors. There were 4 items in the report. One is from a prior year. The response you have is in response to those items. We're going to ask you to approve that response.
Questions?
Okay, now before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution of the Audit Committee reviewing and approving the New York State Department of Financial Services Examination Report for fiscal year 2015, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion is carried, resolution adopted.
Thank you. The next 3 items are information items, except for item 7, where we will be having a presentation. There will be no discussion on these items unless the directors or members so desire. Item 7, independent auditors, Ernst & Young, presentation of the audit plan. Welcome back, Gary, and welcome.
Good morning. Lou Roberts, a partner working on the audit. He's going to give the annual presentation of the audit plan for fiscal 2016.
Good morning, everyone. Great to be back with you again. If we could just go to page 3, this summarizes our deliverables and services for 2016. So we'll express opinions on each one of the agencies: HFA, Sunny May, MBBA, TSFC, and AHC, which is a March 31 year end. We'll also audit any grants that are received by HFA as well as Sunny May and issue separate reports on those. We'll issue a report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance with other matters. And to the extent that there are any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, we'll communicate those within our reports, as well as any other management letter type of items for improvement of controls or processes. Some of the other services that we perform in connection with our audits is a separate agreed upon procedures submission to HUD for some of the HUD programs. In accordance with PAAA, we issue a report on the investment guidelines and compliance with your investment policies. And then there's also a separate report that we issue that includes some supplementary information related to HFA. So all of these services and deliverables are consistent with the prior year. The next page 4 is just an executive summary of what I prefer to do is just jump right into the details, starting with our audit plan, our audit timetable, which is on page 5. So our audit has 4 phases: the planning and risk identification, strategy and risk assessment, execution of the audit procedures, and then conclusion and reporting back to the audit committee. So this time of the year, September, October is where we go through our planning phase. We'll be back out here in October to actually perform our tests of internal controls, send out confirmations for your cash investments, and then we come back in late November to actually perform the procedures over the closed out numbers in your general ledgers. And we should be back here towards the end of January to present our audit results so that you can issue the financial statements to the state within 90 days of your fiscal year end so that you're in compliance with PAAA. Turning to page 6 is just highlighting some of the areas where we place emphasis on. They are consistent with the prior years. We haven't identified any significant accounts that are kind of new this year that would be within scope that weren't there in the prior years. But the foundation of the audit is the assessment of the control environment and the internal controls, and we listed out the significant processes that we evaluate in order for us to plan the nature, time, and extent of our year-end testing. The year-end testing includes confirmation, as I said, of your cash and investment balances. We also independently perform a test of the fair value of the investments to ensure that they're properly recorded and disclosed in the footnotes. Accounts receivable, we make a sample selection of mortgages outstanding, obtain confirmations with those. Historically, we haven't had any issues or errors identified. So that's the approach we're going to take with our sampling. And to the extent that there are any errors, we would have to expand our sample. On the next page, page 7, the obligations for post-employment benefits other than pensions, that's really the healthcare cost. We obtain the actuarial report that the agency receives. We perform some testing over the census data, and we also provide the actuarial report to our actuaries for them to review the methodology and assumptions to make sure they're in accordance with the actuarial standards. Litigation and loss contingencies, part of the process is to meet with in-house counsel, discuss any claims that would impact potentially the financial statements. We send out letters to external counsel to identify any contingencies that should be either accrued and or disclosed in the financial statements. Reserve for claim losses, we review the methodology for any claims that are being incurred. Debt and interest rate swaps, we confirm all of your outstanding debt. We obtain an analysis from your financial advisor with respect to the fair value of your interest rate swaps. We also have specialists on our team who take a look at the methodologies and assumptions so that we have an independent estimate of what the fair value is. And as far as operating revenue and expenses, we test the internal controls and also perform sampling over transactions to ensure that they're properly recorded. Okay. As it relates to fraud, we assess the entity level controls, the internal controls of each significant process. As far as some of the procedures that we perform, we look at journal entries for any unusual journal entries. If there's any accounting estimates, such as the reserve for claim loss, we look to see if there's any bias to evaluate, rationale for any changes from the prior year, or whether or not any changes should be warranted. We meet with several people throughout the organization just to identify any areas of fraud risk. If there were to be any fraud that we identified that would be significant to the financial statements, protocol would be to reach out to the audit committee chair to communicate that along with counsel. Moving on to page 10, this is just a summary of our required communications and when those communications are to occur. So right now we're communicating our plan scope, which is on an annual basis, and I'm not going to go through each one of these, but if an event occurs, such as whether or not there's any material weaknesses, fraud or legal acts, that would be a communication to the audit committee when that event actually occurs. The rest of the presentation goes through some new GASB statements. Some of these I had addressed with the audit committee during our audit results presentation. The one that will impact you for this fiscal year is GASB 72. That's summarized on page 12, and that has to do with fair value measurements of assets and liabilities. What it does is it brings the disclosures for your investments more in line with what you would see in the corporate environment by disclosing the different levels, 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 would be based on quoted prices in an active market. Level 2 would be based on observable criteria such as your interest rate swaps. That would be considered a level 2 disclosure. And level 3 would be unobservable. So if you had any investments in private equities or hedge funds, those would typically be level 3. So not a big impact on the financial statements this year, just really changing and adding some additional disclosure. The rest of the GASB pronouncements, again, are not going to impact the agencies this year. GASB 75, which has to do with the accounting and financial reporting for the post-employment benefits, that is a 2018 standard that you would that would impact your 2018 financial statements. And what that does is really kind of bring the accounting and disclosure more in line with what you just went through recently with GASB 68 and pensions. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be more than happy to try and address any questions.
I just have one question. In the materials, there's some discussion on, this is on page 8.
Yes.
Discussion about, or invitation to discuss fraud controls and the role of oversight. And I don't know that this is necessarily the right place to have that conversation, but I would just request perhaps at some point in our audit committee function, we get your recommendations for whether what we're doing is market its best practices, if there's anything else we should be doing, particularly from a board oversight, audit committee oversight perspective. As you may recall, I'm new to this function, and so I'm just trying to understand structurally what I don't know or what we should be thinking about. And it was a kind of intriguing set of bullets, and not one that I've really been involved in discussing. So again, I'm not sure this is the right meeting for that, but at the right point, I'd love to
Sure.
talk about that further.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
There is no unfinished business. I'll ask for motions and seconds to adjourn each 5 agencies, members, and directors committee meetings.
Okay.
So moved.
Assuming the first and seconds, all signify by saying aye. Aye. Motions are carried, the meetings are adjourned. The next audit committee meetings are scheduled to meet on Thursday, December 15th, 2016. Now we're going to move on to the governance committee meeting, and committee chairman Steve Weiss in Buffalo, patiently waiting. Yep.
Good morning. I'll turn things over to Alex, who will take the requisite legal steps to formally open our governance committee meetings.
Okay, I
Alex.
know that Todd Sherman, representing Robert Mujica, Director of Division of the Budget, and Linda Baldwin, representing Rosanna Rosado, the Acting New York State Secretary of State, are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building Room 131 in Albany. And that Steve Weiss is participating from the agency's Buffalo regional offices at Electric Tower, 535 Washington Street, Suite 105. I'm going to ask for a motion in a second to call to order the September 2016 Governance Committee meetings of HFA, Sunny May, AHC, MBBA, and TSFC. Can I have a motion for HFA and AHC?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for Sunny May? Seconded?
So moved.
Thank you. And a motion for MBBA and TSFC?
So moved.
Second? Good, thank you. I'll note that Steve Weiss is the Governance Committee Chair for HFA and AHC and will chair those meetings. Agency Chairman Bill Thompson will chair the meetings for MBBA and TSFC. Commissioner Rubin is the Chairman of Sunny May and will chair that meeting. As items are presented for each committee throughout today's meetings, these motions and seconds, as you know, will be used unless specific items call for a different vote. For purposes of convenience and to make sure the meetings go smoothly, items shared will be presented by Committee Chairman Weiss.
Okay, shared items. Item 1, the following minutes shall be deemed approved absent corrections from members and directors. The 47th HFA Governance Committee members meeting held on June 9, 2016. The 44th AHC Governance Committee members meeting held on April 14, 2016. The 47th Sunny May Governance Committee Directors meeting held on April 14, 2016. The 42nd MBBA Governance Committee Directors meeting held on April 14, 2016, and the 40th TSFC Governance Committee members meeting held on April 14, 2016. The next 7 items on the agenda are consent items. There will be no discussions on these items unless committee directors or members so desire. Item 2, approval of contract with law offices of Joseph Reed, Bryant Rubino LLP, and Hardwick Law Firm in connection with arbitrage rebate calculations and annual review of financial services contracts with BLX Group LLC, Hawkins Delafield and Wood, and Omnicap Group LLC for arbitrage rebate calculations. And this is for HFA, Sony May, MBBA, and TSFC. Alex.
Okay, now before all those committees is a resolution of the governance committees of all those committees with respect, authorizing contracts with firms for financial services for the provision of arbitrage rebate calculations. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, Sunny May, MBBA, and TSFC, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried, resolution adopted.
Item 3, annual review of the HFA contract with SS&C Technologies, Inc. for provision of a license for cash flow analysis software for the agency's multifamily housing revenue bond transactions, and annual review of financial printing contracts with ImageMaster LLC and MBE for HFA and Sony May. This is an information item. Item 4, approval of the contract with Benefit Resource, Inc. for administration services for the agency's Qualified Transportation Expense Benefit Plan, and the contracts with Automatic Data Processing, Inc. for payroll processing services, together with annual review of the contract with Milliman, Inc. for other post-employment benefit consultant services, and that was for HFA, Sony May, and AHC. Alex.
Now before the Sunny May and AHC committees is a resolution of the Governance Committee of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the New York State HFA, and the Affordable Housing Corporation, authorizing approval of contracts for administration services of the Qualified Transportation Expense Benefit Plan and payroll processing services. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, Sunny May, AHC, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried and the resolution is adopted.
Item 5, approval of Sony May contract with Bank of New York Mellon and annual review of the HFA Sony May financial reporting services contract with Bloomberg LLP for HFA and Sony May. Alex.
Now before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution of the Governance Committee of the State of New York Mortgage Agency approving the continuation of the contract with Bank of New York Mellon for custody services. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for Sunny May, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion is carried, resolution adopted.
Alex, the introduction says it's for HFA and Sony May. Is it just for Sony May?
It's just for Sunny May, right, Lisa?
Wilbur?
Mellon.
Constantly plus for Sunny May.
Yes, just for Sunny May, that was a mistake.
Okay. Item 6, approval of master servicer agreement with M&T Bank and the consultant contract with Doug Dilla Consulting LLC for Sony May. Alex.
Now before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution of the Governance Committee of Sunny May reviewing and approving the continuation of the master servicer contract with M&T Bank and the consultant services contract with Doug Dilla Consulting LLC. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for Sunny May, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried, resolution adopted.
Item 7, approval of contract with Ellie Mae, Inc. for services relating to the update of the Sony May Seller Guide and annual review of consultant services contracts with Alice Chen and Bella Vizzi, and annual review of the contract with Xerox Mortgage Services for Sony May. Alex.
Now before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution of the Governance Committee of Sunny May approving the contract with Ellie Mae, Inc. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the Sunny May Committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried, the resolution adopted.
Item 8, approval to extend the legal services contract with Denton's U.S. LLP as counsel to HFA in connection with its post-acquisition activities relating to the Mitchell-Lama portfolio acquired from ESD, and this is for HFA. Alex.
A resolution of the Governance Committee of HFA approving the continued retention of Denton US LLP for legal services, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the HFA committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried, resolution adopted.
Item 9, approval of insurance consultant contracts on HFA's pre-qualified panel for HFA. Alex.
Now before the HFA committee is a resolution of the governance committee of HFA approving insurance consultant service contracts with Insurance Advisors LLC and Sullivan Hernandez Agency, Inc. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, all in favor please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, resolution adopted.
There's no unfinished business, so ask for a motion and second to adjourn each of the 5 agency members and directors committee meetings. Alex.
Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for all the committees, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Motions are carried, resolution adopted, meeting adjourned. The next governance committee meeting are scheduled to meet on Thursday, December 15th at 8 a.m.